Today's story is about how a single dad applied for the wrong job and ended up changing his life forever, all because of something he once did without expecting anything in return. It's a story about kindness, struggle, and how the past sometimes finds a way to thank us. Subscribe to my channel, leave a like, and drop a comment below. For every new subscriber, I'll be donating $1 to a random act of kindness or charity. Let's make stories like this matter. Sam never planned on raising a child alone, but when his wife Emma passed away from a sudden illness, their daughter Lucy was only 2 years old. That day, everything changed. Sam buried his own grief just to keep smiling for Lucy, who had her mother's curly hair and her quiet giggle. 4 years later, they were still just the two of them, holding on. Barely. Sam used to work at a local factory on the edge of town. It wasn't glamorous, but it was honest work. Every Friday he'd bring home donuts and let Lucy stay up late. But one morning, just before sunrise, the factory shut its gates for good. Layoffs. Cost cutting. All the usual corporate excuses that meant nothing to a man who now had rent due in 5 days. Weeks passed, his savings shrank like ice in the sun. He canceled every non-essential thing: internet, cable, even Lucy's dance lessons, the one place where she smiled wide and forgot they were struggling. Sam skipped meals so she wouldn't have to. He tried everything: construction gigs, night shifts, dishwashing. Some paid cash, others paid nothing. But one rainy Tuesday, soaked and exhausted, he walked Lucy home from school and saw her tiny shoes full of water. That night, he promised himself he wouldn't let this keep happening. He needed a real job, now. So after tucking Lucy in and heating up leftover rice, he opened his old laptop, the one with a cracked screen, and went on a job board. He typed in cleaner, janitor, anything. His fingers were stiff, tired, and without realizing it, he clicked the wrong posting. It wasn't for a janitorial position, it was for an entry-level administrative assistant in a downtown investment firm. The description was a wall of business jargon he didn't understand, but the apply button was right there, glowing blue. So he clicked it. Mostly by accident, he didn't even know what half the words on his resume meant anymore. It had been years since he'd updated it. But he attached it anyway. Then he went to bed, thinking nothing of it. Just another failed shot in the dark. But the next morning, while packing Lucy's lunch, 2 slices of toast, a boiled egg, and an apology for no juice, his phone buzzed. Unknown number. He almost ignored it. But something made him answer. A calm voice said, "Hello, Mr. Walker, we received your application and would like to invite you in for an interview." Sam froze. Interview? For what? For the admin position at Vantage Capital. He stared at the floor, stunned. This had to be a mistake. But before he could explain, the voice continued. "Can you come in Thursday at 10 a.m.? He mumbled something that sounded like yes, then hung up, and stood there in his tiny kitchen, holding a spoon in mid-air, realizing that somehow he just got a callback for the wrong job. What he didn't know, what no one knew, was that this so-called mistake would unlock a door he never imagined existed. And that behind that door stood a woman who had never forgotten what he did one rainy night, many years ago. Sam didn't own a suit. The closest thing he had was a slightly wrinkled button-down shirt and a tie that still had a baby spit-up stain from when Lucy was a toddler. But on Thursday morning, he ironed it anyway, brushed off his worn-out shoes, and dropped Lucy at his neighbor's apartment with a quiet promise to be back soon. He walked into the towering glass building of Vantage Capital with his heart thudding like a drum in his chest. Everything about the place screamed money. Marble floors, people in tailored suits, voices that never rose above a professional murmur. Sam stood at the front desk for a moment, unsure if he belonged here. He didn't, but he gave his name, and a receptionist with perfect posture nodded politely and led him to the elevator. When he stepped into the interview room on the 24th floor, there were already 3 people waiting: a man with thin glasses and a clipboard, a woman typing rapidly on a tablet, another guy with a forced smile and an expensive haircut. They all turned to look at him, and something about their expressions made it clear he was not what they expected. Sam sat down and forced a smile. His palms were sweating. The man with the clipboard spoke first. "Mr. Walker, thanks for coming in. We've looked over your resume and, well, your background is a little different from our usual candidates." Sam cleared his throat. "Yeah, I think I actually applied by mistake. I was looking for custodial work, not." There was a short silence. No one laughed. No one kicked him out. The woman with the tablet looked up. "Then why did you come?" Sam looked down at his hands. He thought about lying, but what was the point? "Because I have a 6-year-old daughter, and last week I had to choose between paying the gas bill or buying her shoes that didn't leak. I'm not here because I think I'm qualified. I'm here because I'm out of options, but I can learn. I work hard, I show up, and I don't quit, even when it's hard." The man with the glasses scribbled something on his clipboard. The others glanced at each other. No one interrupted. Sam continued. "I used to work in manufacturing. Before that, I drove delivery trucks. I've never worked in an office like this. I probably can't answer half the questions you'll ask me, but I'm not lazy, and I'm not stupid. I just need someone to give me one real chance." The door opened. Everyone in the room turned. She walked in with the kind of quiet authority that didn't need announcing. Tall, confident, in a navy blue suit that fit like it was made for her. Her heels tapped softly on the floor as she approached the table. She was maybe in her early 30s, with sharp eyes and a kind of calm that made people sit up straighter. "This is Clara Moore, our CEO," the man with glasses said. Sam stood automatically. Then Clara looked at him and froze. It wasn't obvious, not to the others, maybe, but Sam noticed. Her step faltered. Her eyes locked on his, searching for something. Recognition, memory. There was a long pause. 2 seconds, maybe 3. But in a room like that, it felt like forever. Clara finally spoke, her voice steady but soft. "Mr. Walker, thank you for coming in." She sat down slowly, her gaze never leaving his face. Sam felt his stomach twist. Did he know her? Had they met before? Clara flipped through his resume without really reading it, then looked up again. "You said you applied by mistake." "Yes, ma'am. I was actually trying to apply for a janitorial position. This wasn't what I meant to click." Her eyes softened, just slightly. "And yet you came anyway." He nodded. "Because I've got a daughter, and nothing else lined up. I figured, why not? Couldn't get worse." Clara leaned back in her chair, studying him. There was something unreadable in her expression, something almost emotional. "Well, Mr. Walker, we'll take that into consideration." She stood, closing the folder in front of her. Meeting adjourned. The others stood too, nodding politely. Sam felt the air shift, like something had just happened, though he couldn't say what. As he walked out of the office, escorted by the same receptionist, he looked back once. Clara was still standing by the table, staring at the empty chair he had just left, and deep inside, something was stirring, something from a long time ago, something she had never told anyone. Sam was already halfway to the elevator when he heard her voice behind him. "Mr. Walker." "Wait." He turned. Clara was standing just outside the interview room. Her face had changed. It wasn't the composed face of a CEO anymore. It was something softer, almost fragile. "Do you remember me?" Sam blinked, confused. I'm sorry. I don't think we've met." She stepped closer, her eyes never leaving his. "You saved my life. 8 years ago. Outside Willow Creek, near that old gas station. He froze. I was in a car accident. It was raining. My car hit a tree. The engine caught fire. My daughter was in the back seat. Everyone drove past, but not you. Sam stared at her, speechless. You stopped. You broke the window with a tire iron, pulled me out first, then went back in for my daughter. The car was already in flames. I begged you to leave her, but you didn't. You wrapped your arms around her and crawled out just before the car exploded, and then you disappeared. He remembered now, his hands started trembling. Yeah, I remember. I was on my way to work. I was already late for a night shift. My boss had warned me. One more delay, and I was out. I didn't wait for the cops. I just left. You never gave your name. Clara smiled softly. I've been looking for you ever since. Sam leaned against the wall, the memory flooding back like it had happened yesterday. That night had haunted him. Not because of what he'd done, but because he'd never known what happened after. He remembered the little girl's screams, the smell of gasoline, the burn on his arm that never quite healed, and the guilt, not for saving them, but for leaving. He had told no one, not even his late wife. Clara took a breath. That little girl you saved. She's 11 now. Her name is Ellie. Nielli. She still has nightmares sometimes, but she's alive, because of you. Sam swallowed hard. His voice cracked. I didn't know. I thought maybe you both. We lived. Thanks to you. There was silence between them. For a moment. Then Clara continued. I was unconscious. I woke up in the hospital, and all they could tell me was that a man had pulled us out and vanished. I tried everything. News reports. Asking people, even private investigators, but I had nothing. No name. No clue. Just a burned jacket. And a memory of your voice. She laughed softly. I thought maybe I imagined you. Like a ghost. Some angel who showed up just long enough to save us. Sam shook his head slowly. I was just a guy on his way to work. Clara's voice dropped. No. You were the one person who stopped. That's not just some guy. She looked away for a second, then back at him. So when I saw you today, it was like seeing a ghost come to life. I couldn't believe it. But I knew. Sam's eyes were wet now, though he blinked quickly to hide it. And you're the girl from the car. She nodded. I lost my husband in that crash. I had no family left. Just Ellie. And if you hadn't come when you did. She didn't finish the sentence. She didn't have to. Sam leaned his head back against the wall, trying to process it all. 8 years. 8 years of wondering. Of not knowing. And now, here she was. Alive, successful, and standing in front of him like a miracle. I never forgot that night. Clara whispered. Never. She looked up at him, her eyes shining. You didn't apply for the wrong job, Sam. You just didn't know what was waiting for you here. He looked down, stunned. So what now? She smiled. Now, we figure that out together. Clara looked Sam straight in the eyes, her voice steady but full of warmth. You saved me that night. Now, I want to save you. She reached into her desk drawer and pulled out a thick envelope. This is a job offer. Administrative assistant to the CEO. It's more than a job. It comes with a place to live and full medical insurance for Lucy. Sam's breath caught. He looked down at the papers in disbelief. I don't know what to say. I don't deserve this. Clara shook her head. You deserve every bit of it. You saved 2 lives, and now I want to give you a fresh start. For a few days, it felt like a dream. Sam threw himself into his new role, learning quickly, determined to repay Clara's trust. Lucy's laughter filled the small apartment. Clara arranged for them, and hope bloomed where there had only been despair. But happiness rarely comes without a price. Behind closed doors, some members of the board were stirring trouble. They whispered about Sam's past, his debts, the eviction notice he was fighting, the job he lost at the factory. They called it reckless to put a man with such baggage in a key position. One evening, Sam overheard Clara on the phone in her office. "We have to stop this. Sam is a liability." Clara's voice was firm.
He's not. He's a hero.
Silence. Then a low growl. "You're risking your career for a charity case." Sam's heart sank.
He knew what this meant.
The next day, Clara summoned him. "There's pressure from the board.
He's a shit.
They're threatening to leak your financial problems to the media, to stir up a scandal." Sam swallowed hard. "I never wanted any of this. I don't want to hurt you or your company." Clara's eyes glistened with tears. "I won't let them win." But Sam shook his head slowly.
He's a shit. He's a shit. He's a shit. He's a shit. He's a shit.
"For you and for Lucy." That night, after putting Lucy to bed, Sam wrote a note. His hand trembled as he folded the paper. "Dear Clara, thank you for everything, for seeing me when no one else did. But I can't let this ruin you. I'm walking away. Take care of Lucy. She deserves better than this mess. With gratitude, Sam." The next morning, Clara found the note on her desk, and the small apartment empty. Panic flooded her chest. She called every number he'd given her.
He's a shit.
The board was already calling for a meeting, eager to celebrate Sam's resignation as a victory. But Clara wasn't ready to give up.
He's a shit.
Not on Sam, not on hope. She grabbed her coat and ran out the door, determined to find him before he gave up on himself. Clara found Sam exactly where he had first saved her 8 years ago, sitting alone on a weathered bench in the park near the old gas station. The fading sunlight cast long shadows over the cracked pavement. His head was bowed, lost in thought. She approached slowly, her footsteps quiet but determined. "Sam," she said softly, "I'm glad I found you." He looked up, surprise flickering in his tired eyes. "I'm sorry, Clara. I didn't want to cause you trouble." She shook her head. "It's not your fault. If the company treats people like you like dirt, then maybe you were better off walking away." He sighed deeply. "I thought I was protecting you and Lucy, but maybe I just ran away from my problems." Clara sat beside him, pulling her coat tighter against the evening chill. "There's something you should know, Sam. Ellie, my daughter, she's not a little girl anymore. She's a teenager, and she started something while you were gone." Sam frowned. "What do you mean?" Clara smiled, a sparkle returning to her eyes. "She launched a media campaign called My Hero. My dad doesn't know he saved me twice. Videos, posts, interviews. Ellie told the story of the night you saved her life, and how her mom never forgot. But she also told the story of the man who tried to give her family a new start. The story went viral overnight. The company was forced to respond. Public outrage grew too loud to ignore. Board members who opposed you were exposed for their greed and cruelty. 2 days later, the CEO announced a formal apology. And Sam?" Clara looked at him with pride. "You're being made head of the new Employee Assistance Program. It's a role created just for you to help people facing the same struggles you've overcome." Sam's eyes glistened. "I never imagined any of this." Clara reached out and took his hand. "You earned it, Sam. Every bit of it." Sam smiled, the weight lifting from his shoulders. Lucy would be proud. The park grew quiet as the sun disappeared behind the trees. But inside Sam, a new light was burning. A light of hope, second chances, and justice finally served.